ever been out on the ranch working cattle and your horse cut a steer off, your horse went one direction and you and your saddle went in the opposite direction? That is due to the improperly saddling your horse. Today I'm going to inform and demonstrate to you the proper techniques in grooming, inspecting your tack, and saddling your horse. I spent nearly 10 years around horses and have spent 6 months riding pins out on a feed yard. I know the importance of having a saddle that is secured properly onto your horse and how much easier that makes for the day in the saddle. To begin with, you need to groom your horse. You want to start with a rubber curry comb and work your way from the withers to the rump in circular motions. This loosens all the dirt and grime that's been built up underneath the hair of the horse. You then want to take a stiff brush and move with the grain of the hair to remove all the dirt that you brought up to the surface. Going in the opposite direction would just simply push the dirt back under the hair. After your horse is cleaned up, you think you're ready to saddle. First, you must inspect your tack. You want to inspect your girths and make sure that there's not any old hair, mud, or any burrs that are left from previous rides or from the last time you stored your saddle. You also want to check the saddle pad and make sure that there's not any wads of hair that might cause saddle sores on your horse. You also need to check to see that your rear girth and your front girth are connected with a connector strap. If the connector strap's not in place, then your rear girth can get into the horse's flank area, which can cause the horse to start bucking. You'll also need to check for the beveling buckles. The beveling buckles are attached to your stirrup leathers that hold your stirrups in place. If they're not secured properly, then when you go to mount up, you could lose a stirrup. Now that your tack's been inspected, you're ready to saddle up and ride. You want to start on the left side of the horse. You want to place your pad slightly high on the withers and then tug from the rear of the pad back towards the rump to allow all the hair to fall back into place naturally. This keeps from rubbing hair wrong and making saddle sores. You then want to take your front girth and your rear girth and place them on your saddle horn. You'll also want to take your right stirrup and hang it on the saddle horn. By doing so, when you place the saddle on top of the horse's back, your stirrup and your girths will not be up underneath the saddle. This makes it a lot easier when starting a new horse. After you get the saddle on the horse, you want to make sure that there's equal spacing around the saddle pad, that it's centered up on the horse. After ensuring that, you can let down your stirrup and both your girths and let them hang freely on the right side of the horse. You'll then want to reach up underneath the horse, grabbing your front girth. Then you'll take your tie billet and run it through the D-ring of the girth and then through the D-ring of the saddle. You'll want to repeat this step one more time to allow the leather to make a proper bind to keep the saddle tight when you're riding. You then want to take the long end of your tie billet, come back through your D-ring of your saddle, and then allowing the tail to come back through the loop that's been made in front of the tie billet. You then pull down tight, and that is your cinch knot. You can tuck your tail leather strap back in through your leather holder. You then want to take your rear cinch. With your rear cinch, you want to get it snug, but you don't want it so tight that it's going to be pressing up against the horse's belly. But if it's too loose, then the horse can get their feet caught up in the strap. You'll want to walk the horse around and let the saddle get seated properly. After you walk the horse around for a minute, you'll want to double check your girth. When you're tightening your girth, you want to be able to place one finger between the girth and the belly of the horse. You want your saddle tight, but not too tight. If it's too tight, your horse can't breathe. If it's too loose, then you're going to have a saddle that's going to be moving a lot with you. So in conclusion, there's more to riding a horse than just throwing the saddle on a horse's back and taking off riding. You always want to double check your girth strap and make sure that it is plenty tight before riding. If all these steps are taking place, then there shouldn't be any problem cutting a steer out of the pasture. And you'll be able to stay in the center of the horse and get your riding done for the day.